When 27-year-old Emily Granger bought her dream home in a sleepy Pennsylvania town, she thought she'd finally escaped the noise, the past, and the chaos of city life. The Victorian-style house was a fixer-upper, sure, but its charm was unmatched. Tall windows, ornate ceilings, and creaky floors full of character made her feel like she'd stepped into the pages of a vintage novel. Locals gave her mixed reactions when she mentioned the address. Some nodded politely, others visibly flinched. One old woman at the grocery store muttered under her breath, "You should have let that house rot." It wasn't until her second week in the house that she noticed something strange, a soft draft brushing against her legs late at night. The windows were shut, the furnace was off, and the source seemed to come from beneath her feet. The basement. Cold, musty, and untouched since moving in, it loomed in her mind like a forgotten tomb. Armed with a flashlight and a growing sense of unease, she descended the steps. That's when she saw it. On the far wall, mostly obscured by a stack of wooden shelves, was a faint seam, a perfect rectangle. It looked like the outline of a door, nearly invisible against the stone. She moved the shelves aside and ran her fingers along the seam. There it was. A small circular indent, a hidden handle. With trembling fingers, she pulled. The stone groaned as the wall cracked open to reveal a narrow, pitch-black chamber. Inside, the air was thick and damp, colder than the rest of the basement. Mold crept up the walls. In the center of the room sat a single, decaying wooden chair, turned toward the corner like someone had been punished. Behind it, scrawled on the wall in what looked like dried blood, were the words, "She never left." Emily's breath caught in her throat. Every fiber of her being screamed to run, but something rooted her there. Beneath the chair was a dusty box. Inside, a faded photograph, a porcelain doll with black, glassy eyes, and a torn-out diary page. The handwriting was childlike and shaky. It read, "She watches from the walls. I hear her singing at night. Mama says, don't look at her eyes. Mama says she's not a girl anymore." That night, the singing began. At 3:12 a.m. sharp, a soft lullaby drifted through the house, warped, slow, and haunting. "Hush, little baby, don't say a word." But Emily hadn't played music. The radio was off, her phone had died. It seemed to come from the walls themselves. She barely slept. When she tried to record it the next night, the microphone picked up only static, but she heard it clearly. Every single night. Always at 3:12. Desperate for answers, she called a local contractor to examine the basement. The man was chatty and confident, until she led him to the hidden door. His face drained of color. "Ma'am," he whispered, running a hand along the edge, "this wasn't built with the house. This stonework is older, way older, like pre-Civil War old. You said no one mentioned this to you?" Then he noticed something neither of them had seen. Deep, ragged claw marks on the inside of the secret door. Dozens of them, some down to the stone. That night, her phone buzzed with a single notification. Photo saved to gallery. Confused, she opened it. There, taken at 3:12 a.m., was a blurry image of her sleeping. In the bottom corner of the photo, stood the doll, only she had locked it away. Emily returned to the grocery store and sought out the old woman. The woman's hands trembled as she spoke. That land belonged to the Ashcroft family in the 1800s. The parents were obsessed with seances and the occult. Their daughter Lily went missing. They claimed she was taken by something, in the dark. But the townsfolk believed otherwise. Rumors said they sacrificed her. When the town found the bodies, the parents dead with eyes gouged and mouths sewn shut, they burned the house, and swore never to rebuild. But someone had. Emily tried to leave. She packed a bag, booked a hotel, and loaded her car. But when she stepped outside, the forest around her property looked wrong. The trees had bent inward, leaning unnaturally as if surrounding the house like guards. Her car refused to start. Her phone had no signal. It was like the house had sealed her in. She set up cameras throughout the house, desperate for proof. The footage chilled her. One clip showed the doll crawling across the floor. In another, a pale face peered from the top corner of her bedroom ceiling. In every recording, the girl got closer. And then, the singing stopped. Silence returned. But it wasn't peaceful. It felt like holding your breath before a scream. One morning, Emily woke with dirt under her nails. Her feet were muddy. She had no memory of leaving her bed. On the wall beside her, scrawled in red crayon, were the words, "Come back to the room." She obeyed. She had to. Back in the hidden space, the chair was gone. In its place was a new door. Child-sized, no more than 3 feet tall. Against every instinct, Emily opened it and crawled through. What she found wasn't another room. It was a forest. At night, inside her basement. The air buzzed with unnatural energy. Trees loomed over her, whispering her name. A narrow path, lit by flickering candles, led deeper into the woods. She followed. At the center of a clearing, a dozen dolls hung from tree branches by their necks. In the middle sat a little girl with long black hair, humming softly. "Are you Lily? I'm what's left of her." Every candle extinguished. Darkness swallowed everything. Emily screamed. When the world returned, she was standing in her living room. But it wasn't the same. Dust lay thick on every surface. Her family photos had faded. The clock was frozen at 3:12, and her TV played one video on loop, a grainy recording of her sleeping. In every frame, the little girl stood closer. Weeks passed, no one heard from her. One day, Emily's cousin arrived to check on her. The house looked like no one had lived there in years. Dust coated the floor, furniture was covered in sheets. And then, the basement. She found the hidden door wide open. Inside, she discovered a camera, still recording. The last footage showed Emily staring into the lens, whispering, "She doesn't want me to leave. She says I belong here. She says she needs a sister." The camera fell. A child's laughter echoed. The cousin turned around, and standing in the doorway was Emily, but it wasn't her. The smile was too wide, the eyes too dark, and in her hand, she held the doll. They say the house is abandoned, but if you walk by on a quiet night and listen carefully, you can still hear the lullaby at 3:12 a.m. And if you ever find a hidden door in your home, don't open it. Some rooms were never meant to be found. If this story gave you chills, make sure to hit that like button. It helps us dig up even darker tales. Subscribe for more terrifying stories every week and turn on the bell icon so you never miss what's lurking in the shadows. And tell us in the comments, would you open the hidden door or would you burn the house down first? Sleep tight, if you can.